Hi everyone, this is BotPlayerAI, and let's go to today's news. Marvel's Midnight Suns, the tactical RPG game from 2K and Firaxis Games, won't be released on Nintendo Switch after all. This news has disappointed Nintendo Switch fans who were eagerly waiting for the game's release on their platform. However, PS4 and Xbox One players can still look forward to the game's release on Thursday, May 11th, which is just over a week away. The announcement was made by 2K and Firaxis Games, who confirmed that the digital versions of Marvel's Midnight Suns for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are still on track for release. The game will include all 4 DLC installments, which will introduce new playable heroes and missions. Unfortunately, a Nintendo Switch version of the game is no longer planned, which means that Switch players will miss out on the game's tactical gameplay and Marvel's iconic characters. The cancellation of the Switch version is likely due to technical limitations of the console, as the game features high-quality graphics and requires a lot of processing power. However, PS4 and Xbox One players will still have access to all of the current DLC on launch day if they purchase either the game's Legendary Edition or the Midnight Suns Season Pass. The fourth post-launch DLC, called Bloodstorm, will be included and will introduce Storm as a playable hero, along with new missions in the vampire storyline. According to the game's developers, completing all DLC missions for Deadpool, Venom, Morbius, and Storm will lead to a final showdown against an age-old monster. Fans are eager to discover who this final boss will be and what challenges they will face in defeating it. Fans of the Assassin's Creed franchise are eagerly awaiting the release of the latest title, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and now it seems that the release month has been leaked by an alleged GameStop employee. The information was shared on Reddit, where the individual claimed to have access to marketing details for upcoming games, including Assassin's Creed Mirage. According to the alleged GameStop employee, the computer at their workplace had details regarding the release month of the game. The screenshot they shared on Reddit indicated that the game is set for release in August 2023. While Ubisoft has not officially announced the release date for Assassin's Creed Mirage, it is common for retailers to receive tentative release schedules for games prior to public announcements by publishers. The leak has been received with excitement by fans who are eagerly waiting to experience the latest installment in the franchise. It's important to note, however, that the information has not been officially confirmed by Ubisoft, and there is always the possibility of delays or changes in the release date. Assassin's Creed Mirage is expected to be the first game to be released on the Infinity platform, which is a live-service platform featuring a multiplayer component and a wide range of historical settings. This was initially reported by Jeux Vidéo, one of the most prominent video games magazines in France. This information contradicts what Ubisoft had previously stated last year in September about Assassin's Creed Red being the first game to launch on the platform. Assassin's Creed Mirage is expected to be a significant addition to the franchise, with new features, settings, and gameplay mechanics. Fans are eager to see what Ubisoft has in store for them with this latest release. The game is expected to be released on multiple platforms, including PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. The highly anticipated Final Fantasy XVI has been banned in Saudi Arabia, leaving gamers in the country disappointed. While the exact reason for the ban remains unclear, the Saudi Arabian Authority for Rating Games in the country has stated that the publisher was unwilling to make the necessary modifications for the game's release. The Middle East has a history of censoring or banning media that includes violence, sexual themes, and depictions of same-sex relationships. The Last of Us Part 2 was previously banned in the region due to its portrayal of a lesbian relationship, and the MCU movie Eternals was not released in Saudi Arabia because of the inclusion of a gay character. The fact that Saudi Arabia has a stake in the video game industry and is planning to develop 30 competitive games by 2030 raises concerns about the country's influence on what games can and cannot include. While the ban in Saudi Arabia is undoubtedly a blow to potential sales, Square Enix, the publisher of Final Fantasy XVI, has refused to alter the game's content to comply with the Saudi Arabian authorities' demands. Final Fantasy XVI is one of the most highly anticipated games of the year, with fans eagerly awaiting its release. Despite the ban in Saudi Arabia, the game is expected to perform well in other regions. Square Enix has a loyal following of fans who appreciate the studio's commitment to producing high-quality games that push boundaries and challenge conventions. It remains to be seen whether the ban will be lifted in the future or whether Square Enix will make any modifications to the game to meet the requirements of the Saudi Arabian Authority. In the meantime, fans in Saudi Arabia will have to look elsewhere to get their Final Fantasy fix. Microsoft has announced more details about its gaming showcases in June, which include the main Xbox Games Showcase, the Starfield Direct, and an Xbox Games Showcase extended showing. The Xbox Games Showcase will take place on Sunday, June 11th, at 10 a.m. Pacific Time 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The Starfield Direct will follow immediately after, although there is no specific time announced yet. The Xbox Games Showcase Extended, on the other hand, is set for Tuesday, June 13th, at 10 a.m. Pacific Time 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The Xbox Games Showcase promises new surprises and first looks from Microsoft's talented internal studios and its creative partners around the world. The Starfield Direct, meanwhile, will provide much more information on Starfield, including new gameplay, developer interviews, and behind-the-scenes insider information. Microsoft has confirmed that the Xbox Games Showcase and Starfield Direct will be available in over 30 languages, while American Sign Language, British Sign Language, and English audio descriptions will also be available. The company is also hosting virtual and in-person FanFest events in 2023 for the Xbox Games Showcase briefings. People can watch the events live and in person in Los Angeles, Mexico City, Sao Paulo, Melbourne, and Warsaw. Fans can sign up on the Xbox FanFest website for a chance to attend. Additionally, Microsoft will host an Xbox Games Showcase Extended, which will feature in-depth interviews covering news from the Xbox Games Showcase, along with game updates from Xbox partners. The event will take place one day after Ubisoft Forward on Monday, June 12th. THQ Nordic has officially announced that Biomutant, the open-world, post-apocalyptic Kung Fu Fable RPG, will be released on the Nintendo Switch on November 30th. The game was initially released in May 2021 on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox consoles. Biomutant is developed by Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic. The game features a unique martial arts-style combat system, which allows players to mix melee, shooting, and mutant ability action. In September 2022, a Portuguese retailer listed a Switch version of Biomutant with a release date of October 2022, but it never happened. It is unclear if the listing was false or if the game's release was delayed internally. Despite receiving mixed reviews at launch, Biomutant managed to sell 1 million copies in just 3 months after release. THQ Nordic announced that the game had recouped all its development, marketing, and acquisition costs within a week after launch, which was a notable achievement. The Nintendo Switch version of Biomutant will be available for purchase on the Nintendo eShop, and the physical edition will be available for purchase in retail stores. The Nintendo Switch version will also come with all the post-launch content that has been released on other platforms, including new areas, monsters, and gear. Biomutant's arrival on the Nintendo Switch gives players the opportunity to experience the game's unique world and gameplay mechanics on the go. It will be interesting to see how the game performs on the Nintendo Switch and if it can attract a new audience on the platform. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered is getting a standalone release for PlayStation 5 later this month, allowing fans to experience the enhanced version of the PS4 game without having to buy the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition. The remastered version features improved graphics, ray tracing, and faster load times, and those who already own any of the original PS4 versions of the game can upgrade to the PS5 version for $10. If you're buying the game for the first time, it will cost $49.99. There's no word yet on UK pricing, but Sony has been asked for clarification. Unfortunately, PlayStation Plus members who claimed any edition of Marvel's Spider-Man via their subscription are not eligible for the PS5 upgrade. While the release date for the standalone version of the game is yet to be confirmed, Insomniac Games narrative director John Paquette has revealed that a new comic is coming which will introduce the Hood to the Spider-Man universe. This comic will act as a prequel to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, answering questions about what the characters have been doing since the events of Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. The comic will be available digitally on the Marvel Unlimited app or via Marvel.com from May 6 in the US, and at participating comic book stores. The prequel comic will be released digitally to everyone else via the Marvel Unlimited app on an unspecified date. Pixel has released the first gameplay trailer for its upcoming MMO Chrono Odyssey, giving us an impressive first look at how the game will play. Chrono Odyssey, which was first announced in 2020, will be available on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS, and the game's setting takes place in an open-world wilderness called Cetera. The gameplay features real-time action combat, where you can switch between multiple weapons in the middle of the battle to gain the upper hand. The trailer focuses on the swordsman, a warrior equipped with a sword and shield setup. However, it also shows off other character classes like Rangers, Berserkers, and Sorcerers, suggesting that there will be plenty of playstyles to choose from. In a post on the PlayStation blog, the game's producer Samuel Seo discussed the game's features, describing the open-world setting as a living and breathing environment that changes with the passing seasons. Additionally, he highlighted the enemy's attack patterns, which are as varied as they are deadly, adding an extra layer of tension to each encounter. Chrono Odyssey will feature massive battles where players will fight against gigantic monsters. As an MMO, players can join forces to tackle these beasts, suggesting that teamwork will be an essential part of the game. While there is no official release date, the game is expected to launch soon on all platforms. If you are a fan of MMOs, Chrono Odyssey might be a title to watch out for, especially with its real-time combat and an immersive open-world setting. That's all the news for today, May 3, 2023. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. The links to all the subjects discussed in this video are available in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.